indicate, it's different every season. But I really wanted to start right where we finished and build on that. And obviously, if we did that, then we'd do what we wanted to do, and that's become a better football team. And I don't think we did that. You know, doesn't mean we went dramatically downhill. It just means that I don't think we've made the progress that I would have liked for us to. You know, the out-of-season program, you know, if you grade it on a percentage, you know, from what I saw, maybe 85%, meaning, you know, that we had, you know, probably 85% of our players were performed very well. Tremendous effort, appropriate attitude, genuinely cared, conditioned themselves well, gained in the strength department. Probably, you know, 10% didn't, and probably 5% were extremely poor. So, you know, that may be a passing grade, but it's not to the level that you'd like for it to be.
With the returners, what do you see in terms of leadership right now from the onset of spring and the potential for other players to step up here?
Well, you know, I think potentially we have, I hate that word, but we have a number of guys that, A, have the capacity to be quality leaders in our program, and a certain number of them, you know, are moving rapidly and readily into that arena. I think, you know, the more the merrier as far as I'm concerned. I'd rather have more. I'd rather have, you know, if you got 100 youngsters, I'd rather have 100 leaders, but everybody doesn't necessarily see it that way, and I can understand. But we have some guys that take it very seriously and really have stepped up and tried to provide the quality of leadership that is necessary from within. You know, and the hard part for most young people is the demanding aspect of it. You know, they can all applaud each other and try to give you know, positive guidance, but you know, sometimes it has to be a little more demanding, and that's a difficult task for a lot of young guys. But we have some guys that are learning how to do that and have done that during the course of the out of season in particular, and so we're growing in that respect, I think.
Coach, probably have a lot of roster questions for you today, but running back, let's start there. Demarcus Robinson, is he kind of the guy and everyone's chasing him, or how's that position shaping up?
Well, we have, you know, first of all, we've had 4 practices, and to me that's an awful lot. We practice tomorrow, have a full scrimmage, and we had a little bit of a scrimmage, not very long, about 20 minutes on Monday, and we'll have a, you know, full scale all day scrimmage on Wednesday and have a little bit better understanding. But you know, I think at that particular position, it's going to be very competitive. And I mean, there are 3 young guys right now, Jones and Leverett and D-Mac, and I wouldn't pick one right now. D-Mac's at the top of the chart right now because he came out in that position from the fall. But I think we see some promise in the 2 younger guys, and they have gradually demonstrated that. I think they have gotten, we haven't collectively offensively, but they have gotten, I think, a little bit better day in and day out. Still a long ways away, all of them are. So it really will be, you know, and I'm not just saying that, it's going to be genuine competition between the 3.
What's held D-Mac back to this point?
I've, you know, just doing it. You know, I think, you know, he's a good young guy. He'll give you, you know, the best effort. And part of it is maybe just not having been in the mix yet. This is his first time really, truly in the mix, being, you know, above number 3. And so his opportunities haven't been there as much, and that's why I say I'm a little hesitant right now to go beyond saying that all three of them will be in the mix. Hopefully that more repetition, getting more acclimated. Running backs are kind of like quarterbacks in that they have to make some very sudden decisions. Do I go here or do I go here? And you don't have but a heartbeat to make that decision, and that takes some experience. It's like quarterback has to make a decision: do I throw it here or do I throw it there? And that's got to come in a heartbeat. And the more you experience it, the more readily you can make the right decision. And I think that's true with DMAC just as it is with those younger guys. The other two were, on the scout squad most of the time last year. So, they've got to grow in that respect as well.
Coach, what is the plan for Daniel Sams this spring, and how are you using him in practices right now?
Well, right now I've told Daniel if he wants to try his hand as a wide receiver, that I'd certainly give him the opportunity, and so he's working at the wide receiver position, and he's growing. He's really he's picking. It was from a learning standpoint. He understood all the schemes, and so he knew assignments for wide receivers. What he didn't understand was the execution and how to go about doing it, and that's what he's learning right now, and it's a work in progress, but we're giving him the opportunity, and he's made some headway, truly has. I think he feels, and Coach Coleman feels, and I feel that he can be competitive in that arena.
Is he still working at quarterback too, or is he just focusing on that this spring?
Right now, he's just focusing on the wide receiver position. Yeah, that doesn't eliminate anything. It's just if he wants to play there, then I want to give him the best opportunity, and the best opportunity is not to spread him too thin.
Coach, lots of new faces at offensive tackle, at least from an experience standpoint. What do you see from the guys that are at those, whether it be left or right, and how are they developing in your eyes?
Well, the two new guys of the community college guys, Hayes and Bennett, are they're feeling their way around. It's not an easy task for them. So they've had their ups and downs. I was pleased in the short scrimmage time that we had on Monday that they probably performed better than they had at any time during the previous 3.5 practices. I think it's just a learning experience, and it's going to be repetition. Watching Luke in particular during the out-of-season program, I don't have any. I don't have any doubts about him being able to come along quick enough. I think both of them will come around. It's how quickly can it happen, and I don't have any doubts. He's an awfully hard worker, runs well, physical as well. So now it's just a matter of learning the nuances of the position. The footwork, the assignments, and if we throw a lot at them, we. After 4 days of practice, our total offense is in, and that's a lot. And so their heads are swimming right now. And as we start to go back and repeat things that we have done, things should settle down for them, and they can feel a little bit more comfortable that they understand what they're doing and react to situations a little bit better.
And if I may, just sticking with the offense, pick up another position group. You lose Tremaine and Terrell, but it seems like just based on depth roster-wise, if you go down the names, it seems like you have plenty of options to fill the hole at wide receiver. What do you see from some of the younger guys? I know a couple red shirts in there as well at the wide receiver position. Well,
I think we were just talking about that a little bit earlier, and we may have 6 guys that could fit into the mix if they continue to make the progress that they have up to this point in time. Probably the one position I think that, even though it's they haven't gone straight up, but by the same token, I think of all positions, maybe the one that has made as much the steadiest improvement over the course of the 4 days. The Burton, has really stepped up and proven that he can play. You know about Tyler, you know about Curry. Daniel has stepped up and shown some progress there as well. Judah Jones, who was a scout squad guy last year, has stepped up and proven to us that, he makes some silly mistakes, but that's what, young guys do sometimes. But, if he can understand the sense of urgency, then he can get himself in the mix. Stephen West has done a nice job. Cook, who was a backup quarterback for us, number 3 quarterback last year, we've moved him to wide receiver. He's moved to wide receiver, and it's his choice. And I think he's catching on, and he's got some ability there as well. So I probably left somebody out, but it is, again, we have enough young guys to choose from right now. If that second echelon, you take away the returning starters and you take the other guys below them, I think, Burton has probably moved up, to that level. If we put a depth chart out today, which we won't, he would be on it at the top of the list with the other 2, and then you can see that we probably have 3 more that are 2 or 3 more that are quality enough athletes to get there.
Coach Snyder, what kind of growth have you seen from Jake Waters now that he has a bowl win and a season under his belt and he's kind of taking charge going into spring?
Well, I like his approach right now. I mean, he really is kind of all business, I think. He's dedicated to, continuing the improvement that he has made. I think it's been a little rough. He's like I said. I mean, our offense started out, I think, at first day. He really, was on top of things. He made good decisions, threw the ball extremely well, ran the ball, all those kind of things. The most important thing is making the right decisions all the time. And as we've moved on through the practices, that's fallen off a little bit. But I don't worry about that with him, because I know the kind of dedication that he has to it. And he will, as the mistakes are made, he'll get them corrected. So the one thing you don't expect out of Jake is for him to make, the same mistake, too many times in a row. It just probably won't happen.
Do you think he was maybe trying to do a little too much early on last season, but then he just started kind of let it all come to him a little?
No, I think it was just, if he was trying to do too much, that's because we put too much on his plate. But probably to get where he was at the end of the season, he had to have that much on his plate to begin with. And it just, it was new to him, and, sometimes you just try to play the game, and a lot of people will tell you, he's got to settle down and just play, but you got to know what you're doing in order to do that. And, he was trying to just play without having all the knowledge that he needed, I think, and obviously made some costly mistakes. But he's just made headway throughout. So I don't anticipate it'll be any different, other than he's got a great foundation to build on right now based on last year. So he had an excellent scrimmage yesterday. Like I said, he had fallen off after practice 1, but then when we got into the scrimmage, he did really a nice job.
Coach, losing seniors is the nature of your business, but once in a while a kid like Ty Zimmerman comes along that's clearly kind of a glue guy that kept everything together at times on the defense. How's the safety position looking, and does that include maybe moving Dante Barnett into Ty's role a little bit more?
Well, and he is accepting that role. And when Ty was out, he accepted that role. So he got his feet wet all the way up to his knees sometimes. But nevertheless, he's experienced that. He knows what the expectations are in that role, and he's really he's accepted that role quite well. And I think he's doing well. I have no complaints with where he is right now.
Who else has emerged at safety maybe to help
Well,
fill that?
Schellenberg is really has made, you know, he ended up starting some last year and playing some, and he's really made some headway. I'm proud of the progress that he has made. You know, from practice 1 to yesterday, he really has, you know, has made steady improvement. So I'm pleased with that. Travis Green is going to fit in there somewhere, we think. Not sure exactly where yet. We're trying to find that out.
And sticking with the secondary, cornerback, you've got to replace two. Denzel McDaniel's on campus, but where's that position looking right now?
Well, you know, it too will be, I think, it kind of depends on when another youngster gets on campus, but I think Morgan Burns has stepped up well. Randall Evans, of course, has been there, and we've, you know, and we have confidence in his capabilities. Nate Jackson has been taking an awful lot of repetition there. He's got, you know, some capabilities that we like, and just seeing how he can learn the system and how quickly he can react to how fast the game is will be a part of it. So, and then Denzel is just learning the system and going along, and is I think Denzel has gotten better, you know, from day one until now, just because of the experience in the system more than anything else, and learning what's expected and how to go about doing it. So, you know, I think then we have the MAC youngster that'll be coming in, and hopefully he will make it, you know, continue to make it competitive. We'll see when he gets here. But right now, I think we have, you know, those 4 guys that, you know, to choose from, and I don't think we're where we need to be yet, but we're getting better. We're better.
Coach, what exactly was the conversation like between you and Daniel when the subject of moving to receiver was broached? And on that same topic, what's the depth like at quarterback with him moved over there behind Jake right now?
Well, when our quarterback depth right now, without anybody coming in, but just in the spring, we have Jake, and then we have Joe Huebner and Jesse Ertz. Joe, you know, has been with us for a couple of years. Jesse was last year was his first year as a redshirt freshman. They're really, you know, progressed quite well. You know, with Daniel, you know, I mean, the dialogue that I had with Daniel was, you know, I want you to be happy. I want to see you on the field, and you know, if because he approached me about, you know, playing, you know, as a wide receiver. You know, I made my recommendations to him, but I said I would certainly abide by his and give him a chance, you know, and he wanted to try it there, knowing that he could. I mean, there's a lot of places that Daniel can play, and you know, I just want him to feel he needs to know he needs to go out and become he wants to be a wide receiver, needs to become a wide receiver, and let reality set in. Yes, I can do this, but he's proven that he's, you know, is not going to be bad there. And, you know, is that really what you want? If that's what you want, then we'll move from there. But he's I like the way he's working at it. He's made, you know, I think he's made progress. You know, there's some ups and downs in there as well, but I think he's learned, you know, some of the nuances that we talked about, not as well as he needs to, but he's learned some of the nuances about the position that he wasn't aware of. And, you know, and he studies it pretty hard and is focused on it on the field. So, you know, he's got skill. You know, we understand that. He can, you know, make you miss sometimes.
Coach, is there anyone that maybe that you expected to be with the program that currently is not as of right now and going into spring?
No. None that I'm aware of. I mean, they're all out there. You know? Last I checked, anyway.
Coach, I'm curious. You mentioned you had recommendations for Daniel. What other positions can you see him fitting into?
Well, I told him he could. I mean, there isn't a skill, quote unquote, skilled position. again, you know, skilled position is tackle to tackle in my estimation. But in the generic term and the way you would utilize it, he could play any of them, I think. I mean, he could be a running back, he could be a wide receiver, he could be the quarterback, he could be, you know, whatever, any of those positions, because he's pretty good with the ball in his hands. We've seen that. So he's, you know, he's got to be on the field, but, you know, he's got to find the spot. I don't want him to be someplace, and see, I want him to know that he's got to, you know, that he's always had a fair chance, and so and he's accepting it, you know, well, I think.
Coach, obviously everyone knows what Tyler can do with the football and kickoff returns. How about punt returner with Tremaine gone? How do you see that shaping up?
Well, you know, Daniel, you know, fit in some of the return spots. You know, Tyler will go back and return punts as well. We like young Davis youngsters, a transfer wide receiver, has had experience there, and I like what I see with him in the punt return arena. Judah Jones, you know, has done a nice job with one of the wide receivers back there. So you know, I think we got quite a few to choose from.
I noticed you have 2 redshirt freshmen listed at punter. Can you speak a little bit about their development, what you see?
Well, Walsh and Lockviller, I mean, it's kind of Mutt and Jeff. Lockviller is like 9 feet tall, and the other one's about, you know, 2.5 feet tall. But and they are consistency is going to be the big issue. It's just doing it enough now, since it's their first turn to you know, step up and do it. I mean, they hit some very, very fine balls, and then they hit some that, you know, you don't know where they're going. So there's just got to be some consistency about it, and that's, you know, that's what all this is about in the summertime, et cetera. But right now, you know, it's probably Walsh and with more consistency, and Lockviller with, you know, just still kind of learning a little bit, but capable. Both of them very capable.
Coach, 2 openings, I guess, depending on what defensive package you're in at linebacker. Is there a position group that got as big a boost in athleticism and speed, some of those physical standpoints, as the linebackers maybe appear to have gotten on paper from this year or from last year to this year?
Well, you know, we have 2 incoming youngsters, and so that, again, you never know. You know, that remains to be seen, so to speak. But I like, you know, right now the progress that our young guys have made. You know, Jonathan Truman, you know, is just steady, intelligent young guy. You know, starter, so he's going to play well. Mike Moore has made a lot of headway. You know, he played a lot last year, and he stepped into right now a number 1 role. Will Davis has stepped into, you know, a spot that's kind of reminiscent of the, you know, backers we've had there in the past years, Rebeck and Slaughter. You know, guys that are so steady and really truly understand what they're doing, and they become quicker because, you know, they can play the game because they know, you know, where to go and what to do and how to get there. DeCorey Johnson has, you know, got in late last year and just really was trying to learn during the course of the season, but is, you know, has excellent quickness for the position. And is really learning the system now and getting better and better, and he'll be, you know, he'll be a factor in there as well.
From a depth standpoint, is there maybe a coach on your staff that seems to be as blessed right now as Coach Lattimore at defensive tackle? It seems like, you know, that's a position that you guys are always trying to strive for in a conference like the Big 12, having interior forces, and it seems like there's a plethora of guys for him to pick from there.
Well, there is. Now, you know, they have to play, though. That's the key. And we have progress to make, but, you know, you got a returning starter in Brits. You got, you know, Valentino Coleman, has, you know, ample playing time from last year. You've got DeMonte Hood, who had some playing time last year. Got a couple young guys, Matt Seward, who's really, been a scout squad guy, but has been very impressive on the scout squad, and really is being very competitive at that position. Will Gary, the same thing. Will Gary is just he was the best thing that happened for our offensive line last year by being on the scout squad and competing against them, and he made them work every day. I mean, he made Cody Whitehair and Boston Stuyvesant better players, and B.J. Finney day in and day out, and he's in the mix right now. So, we've got decent depth there. Now everybody's got to, understand the system, play hard every snap, and be successful at it.
I'm going to slide one more in just because I just thought of it since we're talking about defensive tackles. Status updates on Terrell Clinkscales and Philo Fanati, if you can comment on him at all.
Fanati is not in the mix, and hasn't been. Clinkscales is still, at the community college now, trying to complete all of his work. We're not sure exactly when it's going to be completed, whether it'll be at the end of the semester or in the summer, and that'll have a big impact on, how well he fits in.
Is Fanati part of the program?
No.
Okay.
No. Don't even know where you got that.
Coach, obviously Waters is a JUCO guy. When you're out at the junior college level recruiting, what do you look for in the quarterback position?
Well, you got to have good people. You got to have people that fit those goals, that we talk about all the time. That's true of every position, but, certainly at that position, you got to have somebody that's intelligent, that can make decisions, that is worldly about the game of football itself. Guy who unselfish, and then it goes into the skill level, and it's got to be able to throw it and run it. But the knowledge part, or to be able to manage a ball game, make the right decisions. Who do I give it to? Who do I throw it to? How do I make those decisions? Which schemes do we get into? Which schemes do we get out of? Making those kind of decisions is really awful valuable to our program.
So what in Jake did you see specifically that led you to believe he would be a good
I think
fit?
all those things. I think his intrinsic values were in place. He had proven at the community college that he was a very knowledgeable young guy and could make good decisions. And he certainly threw the ball fine, and he wasn't a running quarterback, but we could sense that he had the ability to put the ball in his hands if he had to.
Coach, I need to ask this. I get this all the time. How much longer will you go? Have you? And I always tell people, I'm not sure Bill Snyder knows how much longer he plans on going. Is that true? Have you thought about a date?
You're telling them correctly. All right. I don't know. Whether it'll be a day, a month, a year, or 5 years. I don't know. I think, it probably. I don't know how well thought out it will be. It probably should be well thought out, but I don't know that I'll get to the point of thinking it through that way. And I can't say that I haven't tried, but I couldn't come up with the right answers. I don't think there's a magic number to it. It was like I said before. If I can't be of benefit to the young people in our program in the way I should be and the way I think I am supposed to be, then that'll be the determining factor.
Any lessons from? How many guys get to retire twice? Any lessons from the first time around that you'll take into this one?
Well, I've told some that. Well, no, I won't tell you what I told some. No, I don't know that there's any magic number on how many times you should do it. So, yeah, it is what it is.